Hey, hello world. What is up? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte, and we are here live at the Build Studio in New York City. That's right. Our next guest is a remarkably talented veterinarian. He's traveled the world, bringing his passion and love for all wildlife to each adventure. If you're one of his millions of followers on Instagram, you've watched him save lives, raise awareness, and now you can catch him in his brand new Animal Planet original series, Evan Goes Wild, airing Sundays at 8 p.m. on Animal Planet. The objectively handsome Dr. Evan Antin is here. How about that, everybody? Are we excited? I'm excited. How about you at home? I'm asking you at home. Yeah, you're excited too. All right, we're going to bring him out in just a second. But before we do, I believe we have a quick look at the show. So let's go ahead and run that clip.
Excited? I'm excited. I'm Dr. Evan Antin. Working with animals has always been my passion. I'm a practicing vet in California.
Look at this tiny little baby.
But any chance I can get away into the wild, I'll do it.
Look at that horse. What's that horse doing here?
I don't remember the last time I did a physical exam on a horse in the ocean.
Oh, nice little slap of the face there.
Oh, we got whales.
I swam with whales today. I can cross that off my bucket list. It's more than just seeing them, it's feeling a presence. That's what makes you want to save these animals. That's what makes it magical.
I'm talking to elephants.
Interacting with an animal and sharing an experience with them is one of the most special things we can have. You're the cutest thing I've ever seen. There's so many cool animals I've gotten to work with, but there's still so many out there I want to see. And if I can help these animals and share my stories along the way, we are just having a ball, then that's literally a dream come true for me.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, let's get a crazy amount of noise. The great Dr. Evan Antin right here. Evan Goes Wild. I cannot say it enough. Congratulations, sir. This is it. This is the dream. Here we go. You did it. Evan Goes Wild, man. It's real.
It is. Thank you so much. I've been working for really a show just like this for 13 plus years since I started traveling the world and working with wildlife when I was 21 years old. And if I go back in time and tell myself it happened, I'd just lose my mind. I mean, I lose my mind now, and I already, so it's the ultimate dream for me.
So I guess it would be redundant to ask how you doing. I imagine you're doing all right.
Life's so good, man. Life is really so good. I couldn't be more blessed. I count my lucky stars every day. I'm so happy, and I've had a lot of good blessings and opportunity along the way, and hard work mixed with that just has helped my dreams come true.
Well, I'm excited. We're going to talk about the show. We'll get into it. I want to talk all about, especially the moment in which you found out it was real, it was going to happen. But let's dial it all the way back for a second. I was reading. I know you've always been passionate. You say it there as well, but you didn't really solidify or find this path until I think you were in college and you started sort of exploring. Do you remember the catalyst, the moment that took it from something more than just, this is something I'm really into, I kind of dig lizards, to like, this is what I want to do in my life? Like, do you remember that spark?
So I didn't know I wanted to be a vet until I was in undergrad. My first year, I was at CU Boulder. I went there as a business major. I was taking business classes and, big lecture halls and basic freshman class. It wasn't that exciting. And I was also taking some bio courses for I had to get some other science prereqs or something. So I started taking general biology. And then the next semester I took evolutionary biology and ecology. And I'm loving to learn. And I did fine in high school. I did well. I got the grades I needed to go to college, but not many courses got me that excited. And I'm actually I love studying and learning and just, exploring more into this and learning out, more from what I'm even learning in class. So that combined with, I've always been passionate about animals. That wasn't new. And, as a young kid, I grew up in a creek in my backyard, and I was always catching crawdads and turtles and snakes and looking, flipping rocks for insects and stuff all the time. I got more into social stuff and sports through middle school, early high school. And then senior year of high school, I don't know what hit me, man. And all of a sudden, I was just now I had a car and I could explore more, not just my backyard. And I was just going to all these beautiful spots in Kansas where I grew up and catching snakes and copperheads and turtles and doing it all over again. And then, like I said, in college, I started, getting excited about courses. And I since I was in middle school, I had an interest in medicine and a fascination with surgery and working with my hands. So I kind of put all those things together and realized, what am I doing in this business major? And I love business, it's fascinating, but really, I think this is my calling. And so from that point, it was easily crystallized, and I followed that path. I had a vision, and there was no deviating from it. I studied abroad in Australia my junior year of college. And I grew up watching Steve Irwin and Jeff Corrin, loved those guys, learned a ton from them, super inspirational. And I was in the I was in the outback there, and I had this road trip planned where I was gonna live in this car for 3 weeks and just travel the outback. And I packed like 30 gallons of water, tons of canned food. Was too broke to stay anywhere, and just barely could afford gas. And I was like, "Mom, send me a tripod and a camera." And so this is the first time I made my own little wildlife show, and I'm like, talking about wildlife, taking snakes off the road and catching lizards, and getting video crocodiles, and like that's when at that point I had her send that out because I wanted to do this.
I'm made of questions after that story. So what around what time was that? What year?
This is 2006.
2006. Okay, and we'll come back to my time relative question there. Your parents, so your mom sent you out the camera. How it seems like they were pretty supportive all throughout as you sort of found each of these passions. Were any of them at all surprised by how much Evan just loves playing catching snakes out by the creek? That's just Evan just doing what Evan does. Like, was that normal for them? Were they supportive of that passion of yours? Like, if you love this, honey, this week we're going to go do this. Like, what role did they play in this journey that you were on of just going?
They played a big role, and I cared for exotic pets growing up. We always had cats and dogs. We were a very animal-centric family. I mentioned I grew up in Kansas. I wasn't like on a big piece of property, but we had a nice, little yard and a suburban. We were like just outside of Kansas City, and yeah, they were supportive. I mean, they knew. I mean, that was. As soon as I could walk, that's what I was spending most of my time doing. I'd go to friends' houses, and they want to play video games, and I'd be out in their gardens flipping their rocks, and they'd be like, "Who is this kid? Like, we're not having him over again." Like,
not the rock kid again.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I was a weird insect kid in the neighborhood, and they were supportive, so they knew like I was passionate about that when I was young. So whenever I wanted to feed that, interest of mine, they were on board and into it.
Were they nervous at all when you're like, "I'm not going to do this really stable, secure business thing anymore. I'm going to follow"? My passion for wildlife and animals. Or they were like, "Go for it, honey."
No, they never were worried about that career-wise because they knew I wanted to be a vet. And not that vets make a lot of money. That's a whole other story. But it's a career, and so they were excited. They were excited about me getting an education. That really I've scared them, and I still do, is it's the animals and the species I work with. So my deepest rooted like interests have been in like crocodiles and venomous snakes. And those tend to be kind of dangerous. And so when they know I'm, catching spitting cobras and working with rattlesnakes, sometimes I have to wait a few years before I tell them I did that.
So here's the other thing I was wondering. When you say send me the camera and the tripod in 2006. 2006 doesn't sound like a long time ago, but might as well have been a different planet. Instagram, YouTube, things of that nature,
Right.
Not quite as prevalent as they were right now. MySpace, probably a big deal. Who was that video for in 2006 that you were going to make, that your mom sent you the camera, and you're going to be out in the Australian outback, you're doing your outback video. What was your audience? Who were you going to show that to? What were you making that for? Just to show that you could do it?
Yes. Honestly, I didn't have an audience.
You had no idea.
I didn't know who was going to see it.
Amazing.
I just wanted to have it. And, shortly after that, I started making these YouTubes for YouTube. Yeah. These videos for YouTube. And so I met my today fiance. I met her, like not even a year after the Australia trip, and I knew I had my vision professionally, what I wanted to do, and I shared all that with her. And she loves traveling and everything too. So she'd come with me. I did another study abroad in Tanzania. She came out for a few weeks, and we did some filming there. She went with me to Costa Rica, Southeast Asia. So she would help me film and edit these, and then we started putting them on YouTube. And that was the only place I knew, that I could have it, at least somebody watch it.
So amazing, man. I think she had posted something really sweet, too, about when your show was coming out, that 13 years ago, when one of the first conversations you two ever had, you told her about your vision, like, for this show. This was something that you knew, like, so clearly and so specific about how you wanted to. Are you, as you look at these episodes airing, as you look at the work you've done, are you close to what that vision was? Are you on exactly what that vision was? Have you achieved it in its fullest degree, or how do you feel about that?
Yeah, and that was a cool conversation. I just have to say, we both shared, that was one of our first big conversations. We were just friends. We just met traveling and everything. And she wanted to be a traveling journalist, and that's what she does now too. So we both have been a big support for each other, which has been really rad. And to be I've talked with I've spoken to hundreds of producers. I've had close calls with multiple networks. And their vision and our shared vision never got this close. This is truly the closest thing. And I mean, here's the thing about the show is it's all about what I've been doing the last 13 years. And I've always envisioned like this. I think this is so cool, and I'm biased because I live for this stuff. But it's like this combination of, vet medicine and wildlife medicine and helping individual animals and combining that with awareness and wildlife conservation at a bigger scale. That's where I saw my strengths. That's what I thought I could do. And that's what I always dreamed of a show having. And really, that's what Evan Goes Wild is. Yeah. So I think we captured it really well, and my team with my producers and Animal Planet, everybody sees we all share this vision.
And it's a really good point. Like that was the thing that took me off guard, but I was surprised by. Like that was the thing that was special about it. Watching it was that you weren't just there showing us, bringing us up close to these animals, having these experiences, but then there were these moments where you're scrubbing up and you're getting in there and you're getting dirty and you're doing something and you're performing a service or a surgery or helping an animal or helping a community or the way you were just cleaning up the thing on that lizard's mouth or whatever.
Yeah.
I got some antibiotic stuff right here. And I'm going to take everywhere you go. You weren't just exploring. You were also making it a little better than how you found it and like helping people out. I thought that was really cool and very true to some of the stuff that you'd done on Instagram. And what did you learn in all the years of doing that stuff, of doing it yourself on Instagram, that you brought with you to this now that you're doing it the big leagues full time?
Oh gosh, I mean, I've learned so many things. I've learned about what people like to see and what translates well and what gets engagement, obviously, just from doing this kind of thing on Instagram. And so in that way, I mean, people love comedy. And so I've learned that I can share, and I've shared really serious, intense messages, and I've done it in intense kind of rough ways, because the truth of wildlife conservation is there's a lot of ugly faces to it. It's really, animals have it rough, whether they're wild or they're food animal or they're domestic animals or street animals, they got it rough. And I usually travel in the tropics and, countries that don't have the same kind of means to take care of their animals as the U.S. And even we have a lot of, sad animals. So that was a good lesson to take to the show. And then honestly, just getting communities involved and getting the people involved. That's the most, that right there is probably the number one most important thing for sustainable wildlife conservation. Now, donations from the Western world go a long way, don't get me wrong. But if you want to sustain this long term, you have to get the communities and the people that live there involved, and you have to give them a motivation to want to care about these animals and want to conserve them and preserve them. If they don't have that motivation, once those donations are gone, they go back to being on the back burner. But if there's a reason to care, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And the social media aspect, your whole Instagram channel, what's amazing is, yes, you found your audience on there, but you see in this show, you found that community through there as well, and you're growing that community through there. Rather, when you find the vet who helps you with the kittens or whatever it may be, for all the good that it does after all this time, does the social media ever feel almost like a burden in a way of like, oh, I can't just be in this moment, I got to post about this too? Like, how do you balance between keeping it in its place and using it as the tool that it is, and not being overwhelmed by, oh, I've got to keep putting stuff out there if this is going to continue to be useful to me? Right.
No, I mean, I mean, for me at least, social media has been such a valuable part of my platform, my career. So I'll never take it for granted. I mean, that being said, man, there's times I'm busy, and if I might be in a part of the world where I don't have Wi-Fi, or I might be a part of the world where I'm so slammed working, traveling or working with animals, or we're filming or whatever. So I'm not the most consistent person, unfortunately, at times. But I'll never take it for granted. So I never look at it as like a burden. And it's always an opportunity to share and educate and to just, get people excited about animals, wildlife conservation, and vet medicine. And so anytime I post, even if I'm like, man, it's late, I'm so sleep deprived, I've got to wake up early, but I really want to share this, I get such positive engagement from it. And it's just the fact that I can get people, to learn or get excited about this, it makes it super worth it.
We can't. Every time I have somebody on here who's been an influencer of some kind, one of the questions I'm always most interested to ask is, because the thing about social media is everyone in this room's on it. We all have it. We're all doing the same thing. We're all using the exact same tool. So it's a shared experience, and you can speak to a very specific part that not all of us have experienced. At which point did you realize, oh my God, this is a big thing? Like, you have 1 million followers now, but what was the number when you were like, oh crap, Instagram, this is the one. This is the community that's going to follow me. This is the one I'm going to grow. Like, when was that moment where it became a thing and not just your Instagram?
Right. So I had steady growth from about 2013 to early 2016, like January. And I finally hit 10,000 followers, and I was so excited. I'm like, wow, and I'm just shooting, doing a post talking about it's so cool, people are interested, blah, blah, blah. That next morning, I had 15,000. I'm like, what's going on? Like, this is a big jump. I've never gained this much before, And I found out that this Board Panda, you guys are familiar, I don't know if you've heard of Board Panda. They do a lot of cool online stories, and they do all kinds of stuff. But they did a piece on me, and then at that point, Huffington Post, BuzzFeed, and international magazines and things caught word of it, and so I had like a little viral moment, if you will, and from about 2 weeks after hitting 10,000, I went to 220,000. So that was a quick jump to being basically an influencer.
Is that a scary moment when it goes that big, that fast? You're like, oh crap. This was cool a second ago. Now there's 200,000 people looking at me all of a sudden.
I mean, my page was pretty clean. Like, I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, I'm going to look at a couple of pictures in a second.
Well, maybe not.
Yeah. No,
But,
it's clean.
no,
It's clean. But
yeah, I mean, I'm selective about what I even before I was, maybe more so now than then, but like I always thought, once I post this, it's there forever.
Yeah.
Do I want this to be there forever? I always ask myself that, and even more so now. So I wasn't afraid of anything. And it was like, I love what I do, and I'm just sharing my passion. I think it's positive stuff, and I don't get a lot of negative engagement on my feed, on my profile. So, and then after that happened, brands start reaching out, and wildlife, rescues, and people that I used, like the wildlife rescues, I used to bust butt to try to contact them and get my way to volunteer with them and work with them. And now they're coming to me. It's like, holy shit, man, this is big. This is real,
That's a cool thing. So as I said, I had a couple. I went deep into the archives, man, because you just recently also, and we're going to talk about your 1,000th post, because I think it was significant, your 1,000th post, and we'll have that. But
absolutely,
before we get to that one, I pulled a couple. If we could throw to the first one here. This was, what was this? Sexiest Beast Charmer, Evan Antin. This was one. Was this a big, this is like your first post that I could get in the archive. What was this for? This was People magazine?
I'm in the Pantanal in Brazil, and I was working with some. This is called a Yucatan caiman, and they're similar. They're related to alligators, crocodiles, and stuff. Anyways, that was in the SMA. That's Sexiest Man Alive. So that's a People magazine. So People magazine reached out. They're like, hey, we're doing this section called Men at Work. And we're finding the sexiest this and that. Like, they had a chef and a teacher and some other professions, and they were the sexiest of that profession. And I was the veterinarian, but they went with Beast Charmer. And I don't know if there's any other Beast Charmer. So I'm the everything Beast Charmer, I guess, including sexiest. I don't know.
But also, what a peculiar title, the Sexy Beast Charmer. I don't know how many Beast Charmers we have in the world at this time.
So Beast Charmer, it came from when we started making those YouTube videos we were talking about. Natalie, my fiance, she was like, you have to have a name, Steve Irwin's the croc hunter. And so she came up with that. I'm like, I guess, I wasn't like I was not super stoked, but I didn't have a big following. I didn't care, and never thought it would go this far. Never thought it would be in People magazine. Like,
that's
oh, damn
amazing.
It.
All right, let me see the next one. The next one, I thought, look at this.
Oh, dude, killing me, bro.
Now I put this up for two reasons. One, to make you feel uncomfortable, but two, to prove that, you're worthy of the title, dude. How do you maintain fitness and traveling the world? Like, this doesn't just happen. This is a lot of hard work. A lot of people have tried to do this. We don't get very close. We end up wearing many layers and asking questions professionally. But you've done this, and you've maintained it, and you've traveled the world and all that stuff. Was fitness always a big part of your life? Was it something that, as the Instagram blew up, you're like, I got to take this more seriously now too? Like, what has that always been for you in your life?
Fitness has always been big. I've been weight training for 20 years, over 20 years now. I started when I was 13 years old. Another idol of mine is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Of course. And I grew up just I not only loved the fitness aspect of his life, but honestly, really one of the most influential ways, and that he one of the biggest ways he was influential in my life was, this dude would set a goal and had a vision, and he did everything to attain it. And so we had different visions, but I applied the same thing to my life. And when I had my vision, which I think is the biggest blessing I probably have ever had in my life, just knowing, because a lot of people don't know, I followed it to a T, and I did everything I could, to make things happen. And that was, I had a lot of respect for him. And then I've always, thought fitness and bodybuilding, or not hobby bodybuilding, not competitive. I like, competition to watch it or whatever, but I'm not like a competitive bodybuilder. I've always done, like, it's been on and off the last 20 years. There's times where I've been busy with school or just been a snowboard junkie in college, where I didn't hit the gym as much. But it's another big time passion of mine. I was a personal trainer for a year before vet school. Loved it. Super fun career. I knew I was going to be a vet, but it was like an in between thing while I was applying. And actually, so there's some research that came out that shows that horses actually respond better to vets when they don't wear a shirt when you're doing medical work with them. So
I believe it. There's a bond there. Let's go to the next one. Let's take the next one. This one was great.
Yeah, that was
What's going on
fun.
here, buddy? What's
So I was doing this series with Vice, and we were doing different animal stories around the country, and some of them were rescues, some of them were just funny stories, some of them were insta-famous animals. This was about a trend at the time called goat yoga, and I was working on my, hidden crow or whatever the hell you call that, and had a goat on my back. So, yeah, we were just having some fun.
fun one? We got a couple of more. Let's take a look at the next one here. I really enjoyed this one. This one... rather cavalier. This is the Beast Charmer, is what this is. This is what the Beast Charmer looks like to me. When's this from? This looks like a little while ago.
This is 2009, and it was in Brazil, and so caimans, crocodiles, alligators, they have this thing. It's called tonic immobilization, and basically when you put them on their back, they go into a bit of a trance, and I was doing that because I was checking the sex and doing some other stuff too. You don't want to just do it all. I mean, it's caused a little bit of stress. It's not that big of a deal though. But really, the truth is, honestly, you put these guys on their back, they don't move until you right them for the most part. So I've seen some exceptions. Anyways, that was, I don't know. I like to have fun and be funny, and I saw an opening and an opportunity and just kind of went for it.
Are you not? I mean, obviously, you're fully in control of what you're doing as much as you can be with the wild animal like that. But it is fascinating to see that you're able to sort of step back and have a fun moment when this very powerful creature is this close and in this state. It's like right there. It's like it's an example of your awareness of the situation.
Sure.
Only someone you're either fully aware of what you're doing or not at all, and I know you are. So that's the only way you can be this cavalier in this scenario.
Absolutely.
And it's also a funny picture. It's funny. We got a few more. Let's take a look at the next one. This one was great. I just wanted to. I had enough silly ones. I wanted to show you, like in the lab here as we're in the examination room. But also just the variety and the breadth of different animals. I often mention this joke from an old episode of Seinfeld, but it holds true for me. When Kramer insists on going to the vet instead of a real doctor, he goes, they got to see a pig, a chicken, a cow, a dog, all in the same day. It was always a funny thing, but it's true. It blows my mind that you can walk in, and we see this on the show. You travel all over the world,
right? And
you are knowledgeable and ready and confident and able to help. How long are you still growing that knowledge base? Are you constantly
I have
expanding?
So much to learn, dude.
Exactly. How do you?
I'm glad that you have that confidence. I mean, because some animals I haven't worked with a lot and know as much about, but no. I mean, that's what being a vet's all about, even if you only see small animal. But if you do work with exotics and wildlife, and we do some large animal on the show, I mean, you have to know. I know at least a little bit about a lot of animals, and so I think the only way to be able to do that is just being so excited and passionate about all these different animals. So I like to learn about them, but I still have so much to learn. I mean, I've only been a vet for 5.5, a little under 6 years. So I consider myself still to be on the earlier side of my career, and there's still tons to learn.
I think we have one more left here. Let's take a look. Yeah, this was number 1,000. Now, I wanted to bring this up because, as I've said many times, congratulations on this show. And I know how important it was doing all the research for you and the significance of your show being at Animal Planet, the home of your idol, of your inspiration. Yeah. And so this was number 1,000. I saw this yesterday, and I thought this was great. And just take a moment to talk about the weight of that, the heaviness of that not only you live in the dream, but the company you're keeping, the place, the endorsement you have, if you will, to be working where the great Steve worked.
No, I mean, I get emotional thinking about it. It's hard to put into words. And I mean, literally, I grew up idolizing this guy and looking up to him so much and just being so blown away by his passion, excitement, and ability to just raise awareness and get more people excited. I mean, as I said in this post, this guy has gotten more people excited about conserving wildlife than anybody else in the world. And don't get me wrong, there's so many other people doing really big, incredible things, and we got to appreciate them too. But man, I mean, what a platform! And it's I don't know. There's like a special. It's everything about it. I realized I wanted to do this kind of stuff when I was in Australia, where he's from. Like just everything about it, it's a special thing, and it's such a dream come true, man. I can't even put into words. Like, I still can't believe it's real. The show's airing. Like, we filmed it all. It's happening. And I'm still like, holy shit, man. This is actually happening. Yeah, it's wild.
That's pretty awesome, man. Well, wild is the appropriate word. Evan goes wild. I'll remind everybody, we're going to do some questions from the audience. We got a couple out there.
Yeah.
But it's Sundays on Animal Planet. I went to the Animal Planet website to catch the one that I had missed when it aired, and so you can watch them on the website as well. It's a ton of fun, man. You did a great job. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you
It's a
so
hell of a
much,
show.
dude. I got a
Kate,
great team.
That's good, man. We got, Kate, what do we got? Two questions? Fantastic. Let's go first one right here.
Hi, nice to meet you, Evan.
Hi, nice to meet you.
My questions for you are, I guess, what advice do you have for really young kids that, dream of being a veterinarian? What steps do you suggest they take to, actually reach that goal of theirs once they're a little bit older? And also, what is the biggest obstacle you feel that you've had to overcome to sort of get to the point where you are today?
Those are great questions. For younger people that are interested in pursuing this career, I think the most important things that you can do are take school extremely seriously. The veterinary programs, I don't know exactly where it's at these days, but 10 years ago when I was applying, they're extremely competitive. And so good grades aren't recommended, they're a must. And so you just have to just crush it in those courses and take school super seriously. And in my other piece of advice is kind of twofold. It's to get experience working with animals. Now, you can only do so much when you're really young, just because legally and liability-wise, you can't get a whole lot of hands-on at real places when you're in elementary or middle school, really. But when you're 15 or 16, a lot of places start letting you get in there. And so my advice is get that experience and try to get a variety of experience. It's great, if you can hang out with a local vet, maybe a local shelter, a large animal vet, maybe somebody doing research or wildlife rescue. All those things are really great. And so not only is it going to help you get into school because you need to have that experience, and you want to do that through your undergrad and college and stuff, but it's going to show you, is this the right career path for me? And maybe, I thought I wanted to do, for example, I'm not saying myself, but, if somebody maybe thought they want to do wildlife and they go spend time at a dog shelter, realize, what, there's so many dogs and cats that need help, and you can have such a bond with these animals. They're domesticated, which is such a beautiful thing that we take for granted, but you get a really special connection with your patients. So those are the places I would start. And for those young people, start local. There's a lot of great wildlife rescues around the country. There's a lot of great vets around the country and people doing things with animals. You don't have to go to Africa or Southeast Asia to get this kind of experience. That's the dream. That's maybe something you work towards. That was something I worked towards. But I started at a wildlife rescue in Colorado, and I was working with squirrels and raccoons.
It's a great question. Thank you so much for that. Kate, do I have any? I got another one. Another one right here over on the green couch.
Hi, Evan. It's very nice to meet you. I'm a huge fan. And
Thank you.
I just wanted to thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you.
Also, for me, Steve Evans was a legend. I really feel like the world has been missing a lot with him passing away. And I just want to thank you for continuing this path, because I think it's very important to continue to educate people and students and children. And I guess just my question is, when you were a child, have you ever thought of doing something completely different? Maybe becoming a chef, or maybe astronaut, or something else?
Honestly, I always knew animals would be a really big part of my life and probably my profession. As a kid, I really didn't really hone in on what I wanted to do when I grew up or whatever until I was kind of pretty far along the way in college, and it's not a great answer, but no, I didn't. I had other hobbies and passions, but honestly, I had the realization, that vision, like we were talking about earlier, when I was like a freshman in college, and it was crystal clear, really crystal clear at that time, and so it never, even when I was a trainer and other stuff, There was no, I never considered anything else. There just wasn't a plan B. And I'm not saying that's bad to have a plan B or consider other things. If, you know, I think it's great, but that was it for me. Yeah.
I also think
Thank
it's
you.
encouraging. Thank you for your question. It's encouraging, too, because a lot of people, they may be in that period of time where they haven't figured out that one thing yet. And they don't realize that there can be a one thing. Like, they don't know either. And it's like, well, you found your thing. You didn't know what it was before. Then you didn't try a bunch of stuff. It's okay to not know for a little while and get out there and
Absolutely.
figure it out.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to preach to people about that because I
found your thing, yeah.
I did. I'm just one of the lucky ones, man. I mean, it's just a blessing to be able to find that at that age. You know, I have so many friends in college and after college and even now, you know, I don't think they're doing exactly what they want to be doing, and they're working for the weekend or whatever. That, you know, and it's you know, my heart goes out to them. That's tough. You know, I get to follow my heart every day, and not every day is rainbows and butterflies. It's not an easy job, and there's a lot of crap that comes with it too. But at the end of the day, I can feel really good about what I do, and it's me. You know.
There are days that are literally rainbows and butterflies, though.
There are.
Yeah, there are days that actually happens.
Without a doubt.
I wish I could talk to you all day. I got a million questions about this thing. I'll do one last question, then we'll wrap it up, because you mentioned your great crew, and I'm wondering, from all the years that you did the work on the Instagram stuff, were you able to bring any of those crew members with you into this project, or was it more of a matter of it was a scale you weren't prepared for yet? Just what that transition was like, that level of production going from social media to television. Like, was there any overlap at all?
No, I mean, to be honest, like nobody else runs my social media. I've had friends help film this or that, but like everything that you see in my captions, all my videos, like everything, I've collaborated with a couple people here and there along the way, but that's really, you're seeing me. That's my brand. That's my personality. That's who I am. So when I said crew earlier, I meant my crew for the show, and the producers that we have are phenomenal, and they figured me. They were able to, you know, they knew who I was before we started filming, and incorporated that personality and who that was. I mean, it's not even, we're not incorporating it. It's not. There's not. It's really, that's who I am. You know, there's nothing scripted. There's nothing like that, and it's just they were able to see that. And Animal Planet as well, and we really do have a shared vision, and everybody's on the same page. So it's just another, you know, blessing with the show, honestly.
Well, you totally get that vibe watching it. Everybody's working for the same goal. Everybody's having a great time. You've done a great thing. Congratulations. I'll say it again. And I'll remind the world once more before we erupt into a loud, raucous applause that it's Sunday on Animal Planet. Sundays on Animal Planet. Evan Goes Wild. If you're not watching it, you're missing out. So go ahead and check it out. Everybody, make that ridiculous amount of noise right now. Thank Dr. Evan Antin. Let's do it up.
Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it.